Sir, do you have any idea what your wife has to do to run your house? Come on, doesn't she deserve a break? Take her out to dinner at home with convenient, delicious Colonel Sanders Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's why it pays to insist on a chicken with my name on it. If you're not completely satisfied, write me, and I'll give you your money back.
In any supermarket, the vast majority of the meat on sale is going to be coming from a factory farm. Animals are treated as objects rather than individuals in farms. Seen and filmed animals being treated in the most awful ways. People punching their old calves in the face because they're frustrated that they won't feed from a bottle. Kicking animals in the head, spraying marker spray up their noses, beating them with a pitchfork.
Let me tell you, most hogs don't have this lifestyle, okay? If you have several thousand hogs packed in together and they're all genetically largely the same, then it selects for the most virulent pathogens that are possible. And so in the course of industrializing livestock production, we are also industrializing the pathogens that circulate among them.
Factory farming. It's a term that invokes images of massive industrial-scale operations where animals are treated more like commodities than living beings. But how did it all start? Well, to understand the origins of factory farming in the US, we need to go back to the early 20th century. It was a time where agricultural practices began shifting from small family-run farms to large corporate-run operations. This transformation was driven by a combination of technological advancements, as well economic pressures, pushing the farmers towards more efficient and large-scale production methods. This move away from traditional farming methods was not just a natural evolution, but a deliberate strategic shift aimed at meeting the growing demands of a rapidly industrializing nation. The Industrial Revolution played a significant role in this transformation. Advances in technology and transportation made it possible to produce and distribute food on a much larger scale. Tractors replaced horse-drawn plows, and automated systems began to handle tasks that were once done by hand. These technological innovations allowed for the cultivation of larger areas of land with fewer workers, drastically increasing the efficiency of food production. Enter the major players who saw an opportunity to capitalize on these advancements. Companies like Tyson Foods and Cargill emerged as powerhouses in the industry, leading the charge towards a more industrialized approach to farming. They introduced mechanization, which replaced manual labor with machines, increasing productivity and reducing costs. This mechanization was crucial for meeting the growing demand of food in urban areas where populations were booming. But it wasn't just technology that fueled this change. Government policies and subsidies also played a crucial role. The Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1933, for instance, provided financial incentives for farmers to produce more, leading to an increase in factory farming practices. This act was a part of the New Deal, designed to boost the agricultural economy during the Great Depression. However, it also encouraged the consolidation of farms into the rise of an agribusiness. Large-scale operations were able to benefit more from these subsidies, pushing smaller farms out of business or forcing them to adopt similar methods just to stay competitive. This chapter sets the stage for understanding how factory farming took root in the US, driven by a combination of technological advancements, corporate interests, and government support. It was a perfect storm of innovation, economic necessity, and strategic policy that set the foundation for the factory farming industry that we see today. My name is Mark, and welcome to my channel. I make deep dives to the dark side of money, power, and business, empowering you, my cherished viewer, with all the tools you need to take control of your future. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and hit the bell icon that's to not miss out on my weekly uploads. Now tap in, and I'll explain.
One of the things I always come up against is people saying that they only buy local meat, or meat that's come from the local farm. But the fact is that every farm we've investigated with animals being abused in is local to someone.
As we move through the 20th century, factory farming continues to evolve and expand. World War II marked a turning point as the need for mass productions of food to support the war effort, which led to further industrialization of agriculture. The introduction of chemical fertilizers and pesticides revolutionized farming, making it possible to produce more food on less land. This period also made the development of high-yield crop varieties and intensive farming techniques that maximize production. These innovations were essential for ensuring food security during and after the war, but they also set the stage for large-scale industrial farming operations that dominate the agricultural business today. Companies like Monsanto began to dominate the agricultural landscape, pushing the boundaries of what was possible with genetically modified crops and intensive farming practices. Monsanto's introduction of products like Roundup and genetically modified seeds allowed farmers to control pests and weeds more effectively, increasing yields and reducing labor costs. This period also saw the rise of big ag conglomerates, which were massive corporations that controlled everything from seed production to food processing and distribution. These companies wielded immense power, shaping policies and practices that favored large-scale industrial farming. Their influence extended to the global stage, affecting agricultural businesses worldwide. The consolidation of the agricultural industry under these conglomerates meant that a few powerful players could dictate the terms of food production and distribution. But this expansion came at a cost. The focus on efficiency and profit led to the widespread use of antibiotics and hormones to maximize production, often at the expense of animal welfare and environmental health. Factory farms became breeding grounds for disease, and the overuse of antibiotics contributed to the rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. The environmental impact was also significant, with industrial farming practices leading to soil degradation, water contamination, and loss of biodiversity. While the advances in agricultural technology have ensured that we can produce enough food to feed a growing population, they have also created a host of new problems that must be addressed if we are able to build a sustainable and a humane food system for the future. While factory farming has undoubtedly contributed to the abundance of affordable food, it also has a dark side. The intensive confinement of animals in cramped, unsanitary conditions have raised serious ethical and welfare concerns. Chickens, cows, and pigs are often subject to brutal treatment with little regard for their well-being. They live in crowded spaces, are deprived of natural behaviors, and are often subjected to painful procedures without anesthesia. These conditions not only cause suffering, but also lead to high levels of stress and disease amongst the animals. As it turned out, the lack of adequate space, sunlight, and natural interactions created an environment where the primary concern is not productivity and not the health or humane treatment of the animals, but about profit. The environmental impacts is equally alarming. Factory farming is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and water pollution. The sheer scale of these operations means that vast amounts of waste are produced, often contaminating nearby water sources and contributing to environmental degradation. Manure lagoons common on factory farms can leak or overflow, causing significant water pollution, as well harming aquatic ecosystems. Moreover, the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides in crop production can lead to soil degradation and loss of biodiversity. The runoff from these chemicals can pollute waterways, impacting not only local environments, but also larger ecosystems downstream. Awareness of these issues can drive demand for more humane and sustainable farming practices, potentially leading to meaningful change in the industry. By examining the full scope of factory farming's dark side, we can begin to see the urgent need for reforms that prioritize animal welfare and environmental sustainability alongside economic efficiency. Who are the major players behind the factory farming industry? Names like Tyson Foods, Cargill, and Smithfield Foods dominate the landscape. These corporations have not only shaped the industry, but have also influenced public policy through lobbying and political contributions. Their power and reach extend far beyond the farms, influencing legislation and regulations that affect food production and safety standards. These companies wield significant clout, often swaying policies in their favor to ensure that their interests are protected and their profits are maximized. Take Tyson Foods, for example. Founded in 1935, it has grown to one of the largest meat producers in the world. Their influence extends far beyond meat production. They have a significant impact on agricultural policies and practices across the globe. Tyson's business model focuses on vertical integration, controlling every aspect of product production, breeding to processing. This allows them to maximize efficiency on profit, but also concentrates power and limits competition. By owning feed mills, hatcheries, farms, and processing plants, Tyson ensures that every step of the production process is optimized for efficiency, often at the expense of smaller, independent farmers who struggle to compete. Similarly, Cargill, a global food conglomerate, controls a substantial portion of the world's grain and meat supply, wielding immense power over the global food system. Cargill's operations span from feed production to meat processing, and their influence reaches into the markets worldwide. Their lobbying efforts have shaped the trade policies and food safety regulations, often in ways that benefit large agricultural businesses at the expense of smaller farmers, and as well as the environment. Cargill's vast network and resources allow them to influence agricultural practices on a global scale, pushing for policies that favor large-scale industrial farming methods. This consolidation of power means that a very few key players can dictate the terms of food production and distribution, often prioritizing profit over sustainability and ethical considerations. Understanding the role of these companies is a key to understanding the broader impacts of our factory farming system, its impact on our society and environment. These corporations have not only driven the industrialization of agriculture, but have also created a system that prioritizes efficiency and profit over ethical and environmental considerations. By scrutinizing their influence, we can better understand the challenges and the potential solutions for creating a more sustainable and humane food system. As we look to the future, the question remains, what's next for factory farming? The industry faces significant challenges, from growing public awareness and demand for ethical treatment of animals to the pressing need to address environmental sustainability. Innovations in technology and shifts in consumer behavior could reshape the landscape of industrial agriculture. The future of factory farming is uncertain, but understanding the trends and challenges can help us navigate the path towards a more sustainable and ethical food system. Public pressure and regulatory changes could drive the industry towards more humane and environmentally friendly practices, ultimately transforming the way we produce and consume food. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark world of factory farming, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a while to write and produce, so your support is greatly appreciated. And as always, I've been Mark, you've been great. Stay dangerous, and I'll see you in the next one.